Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to what looks like a surreal late night TV fireside chat edition of the Do Nothing Project. So I'm no longer in Costa Rica. I'm back in Toronto at my parents' house. My parents have a little apartment on Avenue Road, just sort of midtown. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment with a basement room. So that's where Sarah and I stay when we're in town because we live outside of town now. But it's always this hilarious kind of like old person space, with a gas fireplace here, and you got the pictures. There we are, pictures of the family. It's my birthday today. My birthday today, so there's like a balloon because we had like a happy birthday dinner, and this is like where they hang out and read their like cooking, magazines and their New Yorkers, and that's my mom right there. Hey, mom. Hey, hey, mom. Say hi. Anyway, and you can see it's snowy outside because it's Canada right now and the weather sucks. So probably that all won't load up very well. But anyway, so now you get a little insight into my parents' house. We sold the family home like oh god, like 15 years ago. So my parents just rent this little place. Yeah. Okay. So
Birthday, Jeff.
so it's my birthday today. Thanks, sweetie. And this is my wife, Sarah. I don't know if you've never been on this before either. So this is the first time for.
I'm not an early riser, so I'm not always up for this.
We didn't really. I didn't sleep very well last. She slept okay, but I didn't sleep well last night. So I'm pretty tired. But I thought actually I would start out by. So this is welcome everybody from everyone far away, everyone close. So this is the Do Nothing Project, meaning it's the place where we're going to do, and we're going to try a new format tonight. Morning. Yeah, I see all the people coming in. So we're going to try a new format today, which is we're going to only do a 20-minute meditation because some people were asking if that would be, we could do it a little shorter. So the whole broadcast will be try to be 40 minutes. So I'll do a little intro and then we'll do like a 20-minute meditation. And then I'm going to answer a couple questions that people have emailed in. And that's going to be, we'll try that format for a bit. And if we need to, we could expand it to the length a bit if people want to go back, but we're just trying to kind of figure it out. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes I'm seeing coming up there. So I thought I would, the intention of the Do Nothing Project is just this, there's layers of intention kind of. The primary intention is just like this place at the beginning of the week where we can all get together in community, and I have a lot of community in different places around the world, people who kind of, like my meditations, we can kind of get together, we can hang out, remotely, meditate together, explore meditation a little bit. But also, and it's also the intention is sort of like, there's so much doing going on all the time. This is a place where we can just be. We can just relax, do a relatively simple activity, and the act of doing something so simple is actually quite healing. It's like it's interesting how it works. The more there's different kinds of practices, but in general, practice brings a kind of it kind of brings a kind of quietude or a kind of space into your life in a way that we really need. Now, hold on a second, because I'm going to be like yell at my mom. Hey, mom. Yeah. Can you're kind of noisy. Is it possible to just hold off a little bit? Okay. This is definitely realistic.
Mom, we're trying to meditate.
But there's also another dimension to the do nothing, which is kind of a lot harder to explain, and it kind of gets to more the mystical side of meditation. Like, in my professional life, I've become very focused on more the practical dimensions of the practice and how can it help regular people in regular situations, and that's as it should be. It's important to have that practical dimension there. You know, how we work with stress, how it can help us with all the different challenges in our life. But there is another, this practice is very old, and there's another whole dimension to it, which is the way in which a practice brings us in relationship to, you could say, the whole of our life, to what's beyond our life. There is a transcendent dimension to practice. Some people focus more on the embodied and dimension of it, which is very much there, but there's also a kind of transcendent dimension. And you don't always get to choose. Sometimes it's one or the other. You don't really get to choose how that comes into your experience. For me, I don't really talk about this very much, but I have this experience very regularly. I had it last night when I was trying to sleep. It's probably what kept me awake, where I don't even know how to explain it. It's like I am suddenly, my awareness starts to kind of generate a kind of momentum. And I feel this charge in my experience, and it's like suddenly my entire awareness gets more complete, or I suddenly see how this moment is totally complete. And I think of this in my head as like moment zero. It's like suddenly I'm so aware and so present that everything feels like it was always there and nothing was ever happening. And how it's like, and it just is very profound and very weird. And maybe I'll talk more about it in future, try to explain it a little bit more in future broadcasts. It's similar, I think, to what in Buddhism is called a cessation, where people have these cessations where they sort of disappear. But for me, I'm not disappeared at all. It's more like I just feel my own awareness suddenly going whoop and being like more complete in some way. And it's like I feel like when I come through that, like I have a reset. Like it's like I'm back in reality in this way that was bigger than I thought before. So I know that's probably going to sound like gibberish, and I don't even know why I'm talking about it, other than, first of all, this is a forum for if any weird stuff that does happen in meditation, which can happen a lot, like feelings of spaciousness, feelings of disappearing, feelings of oneness, feelings of emptiness, all these different kinds of experiences can happen. This is a forum where you're allowed to ask those questions and share those reports. But also because that thing I'm pointing to, the reason it's so interesting is it points me to a way in which I'm in relationship to reality in a way that's independent of any one moment, or independent of any of the content of any one moment. It's like, that's what I mean by moment zero. It's like there's a way to be where all the conditions of your life aren't impinging in the same way, and yet you've never been so fully alive in some ways. So I want to call this meditation I'm going to guide moment zero. And we're going to do a very simple practice of kind of staying lightly in awareness, and allowing our experience to be what it is. But the idea is that at every moment you can begin again, because every moment is completely unique. Every moment is moment zero. Every moment is just like is coming up vertically through our experience. Is coming up vertically through our experience. So I'm going to try to thread this kind of prompt into the guidance, and we'll just see what happens. And then I'll probably finish with a small little loving kindness to the self practice, self-compassion practice, because we got a question here about self-compassion that I want to answer. Okay, so that's it. That's enough of an introduction. All right, sweetie. Okay. All right, guys. So pretend the bell's going because I forgot my bell. Oh, did I bring a bell? I did. There's one downstairs. Whatever. Bell, and then let's start meditating. Okay, so we can start by taking a few deep breaths. And you stretch up the spine, kind of stretching it up on the inhale, finding some space in the spine, opening it up a little bit, finding some alertness, and then the exhale is the downward motion, just relaxing, softening the face, kind of relaxing down into the cushion. And on the exhale, you can deliberately soften your forehead and your eyes and your cheeks. So we're going to keep this meditation really simple. Lately, I've been really interested in practices that are focused on just staying aware, just staying in awareness. There are other practices that are about kind of getting so absorbed in something that you disappear, and those are cool. But with this practice, we're going to try to lightly stay in awareness. And that means it may just be that you're sitting here right now with your eyes closed or half open and you're just aware, and that's cool. It's just like aware that you exist, aware that sensations and thoughts and feelings and sounds are all coming and going. Or you may want to actually decide to work with an anchor. So instead of a pure open awareness practice, you're focused on something like the feeling of the breath at the belly, or the warmth of the hands, or you're focused on maybe ambient sounds in the space you're in. Like it could be a heater or distant traffic. In our case, there's the sound of the fireplace behind us, the gas. So the idea is that for some it feels a little too vulnerable to just sit in pure open awareness. They get too easily startled, or they feel the attention doesn't feel stable. So you just use an anchor to help with that stability. So if that's the case, so go ahead and choose something now. Either stay in that more open space, or choose one of the things I described, or something else in your experience. It can be anything. And if you're choosing an anchor, the idea is to get really interested in the thing you're paying attention to, sort of sensually interested. So what is the sensation of breathing, of listening? And you try to just appreciate the simplicity of the activity. I'll come back with a few prompts in a little while. Good, so we're just existing here for a little while. Existing with our breath, with some sensation or sound, or maybe just in this open awareness. And the one challenge we set for ourselves is just this challenge of seeing if we can stay aware. If we can stay awake and aware and not drift off into planning or fantasy or revisiting the past, figuring out the future. Those things may happen. And we just sort of notice they're happening. Oh yeah, cool. We don't have a problem with it, but we're lightly biased towards our anchor, or towards being an open awareness, not feeding those things. And at any moment, we can do that little reset. We can go back to moment zero, starting again, feeling or hearing or just being as if for the first time. Good. So we're practicing the skill of staying aware and not checking out in the normal ways, the usual ways in which we may check out. Just staying aware with our breath or with sound or with the posture in general, just in an open awareness. And notice that even though we may need to remind ourselves to kind of stay present, within awareness itself, there's no effort. Awareness is just there. You could say it's always there. It just gets covered up or it gets filled up with stuff. But at any moment, we can just come back to moment zero. And in moment zero, there's nothing happening. Or rather, everything's happening, but awareness itself is empty and open, always there to be refreshed. And we can bring this into our practice, a sense of nothing happening, nothing needing to happen. Sense of always having been here, always here. So lightly staying in awareness, staying with the breath or with sound or just with open awareness itself. Of course, we get pulled off, we get distracted. And when we do, we just notice that's happened. We kind of smile and we come back to awareness, coming back to moment zero, as if we just now appeared, as if our own existence were kind of like this vertical upwelling here and here and here, feeling the vast expanse in a way of awareness that we're inside right now. Okay, good. So I'm going to finish with a little self-compassion practice. These are really nice. It's nice to finish a sit with a little loving kindness of some kind, sending some friendly vibes out to family, friends, strangers, challenging people, and of course ourselves too. And the way this works is I kind of started by visualizing either myself as I am right now. So as you are right now, you're just visualizing yourself. Or sometimes an easier way in is to visualize you as a little kid, all innocent and just, doing your thing, ice cream smeared on your face or something. And just seeing if you can generate a little friendly intention towards yourself, like saying, may I be well, or may I be happy, may I be healthy. And this is really a very common sense thing. It's, of course, may be happy. This is part of what you'd want for anybody. Anybody would want it of you, just like you'd want it of anybody else. So there's a sense in which we're connecting here to our shared humanity. And the more we can be friendly with ourselves, the more capacity we have to be able to hold that friendliness for others. So you just visualize yourself as a kid or yourself now, and you just repeat a little phrase, may I be well, may I be happy. And it helps to have a little smile. And remember, each moment is moment zero. Awareness comes back to itself. It's awareness that's sending the friendly vibes to you, like it would send it to anybody. It's like this awareness is this wider kind of parental quality. And when we do this, we kind of reparent ourselves, to use psychotherapy language. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be strong. So any loving kindness practice is not so much about the effect, it's about the intention. So you have an intention to want the best for yourself, which is very reasonable. And then as we do that, we may feel like warmth or something nice, or we may feel like it's kind of phony, or we may feel sad, or we may have a reaction. It's all fine. It's practicing the intention to care about yourself is what we're really developing. It's what the skill we're building. So it's a lot about resilience. So just one last moment, just again, bringing yourself into your mind's eye. Just repeating this phrase, may I be safe, may I be strong, may I be happy. And may all of us be this way. Okay. If I had a bell, I would ring the bell. But I forgot it in the basement. And thank you guys for your practice. So if you always have any questions, you can always email them in, or I'll try to look at if there's any questions in the chat. If you put some in there, I can't see them here because I got to get a better setup with the computer or something, but I can see them later, and then I can kind of write them down in the list of questions. But there's a few people have been sending in, so I thought I would answer one. One is about the practice we just did, self-compassion, and this is Andrea Donato, who wrote this in. She said it was cool to use her name, and it was all around the subject of approachable language, particularly around friendliness to the self. And her question is, I was wondering if you have some advice about approachable language. I've noticed in my clinical practice that when speaking with friends, as soon as I use these words, and I'm assuming the words are the usual mindfulness stuff, people's eyes glaze over. I love the language you use. I especially enjoy when it is swear words. I'm trying not to do that, actually, as it grabs your attention and makes it more relatable. Unfortunately, I can't swear on the YMCA Facebook page, LOL. I noticed that sometimes you use the word friendliness towards yourself. I was wondering if you had any more suggestions of how I can have people understand the concept and the importance of the concept. So it's about the importance of self-compassion, the importance of, there's sort of two questions here. One's the question of language, accessibility of language, and the second is around the concept of loving kindness to the self, or compassion to the self in particular. So around the approachable language piece, I think that's the kind of the challenge of is to kind of figure out how to make it relatable. Practice is about how we are, our everyday lives. So what are the examples from our everyday lives? What are the language that everyday people use? It's not, sometimes people use the proprietary language of a particular tradition because it has a lot of precision, but it's also jargony and it kind of turns people off. So I think whenever you're doing a practice, like I try to describe my in the moment experience as I'm guiding or as I'm framing it in just the language of the everyday. And I know that's very general and kind of obvious, but it's sort of hard to do because especially if you've been trained in a particular tradition, it's very easy to go to the jargony stuff. So anyway, that's a little bit about approachability. I can say more about that in the future too. I didn't really think through what I was going to say. Then the other one is the compassion, the friendliness for self. The way I think of it is, it's kind of like what I was trying to do in that guidance right there, that it's about, a lot of this is just common sense, and it's about not having a double standard in that you're treating yourself the same way you would want to be treating somebody else. And it's amazing how often people don't do that, that they think that it's cool. They have a lot of friendliness for other people, they have a lot of capacity to care for other people. But when it comes to themselves, they're their harshest critic. But there's a relationship there. If you're your harshest critic, what often ends up happening is as you get really, really close to people, that harshness can kind of come out to those people as well. I've noticed this happen in myself. It's like, as you get really close to people, it's almost like they become more in your inner circle. And then your harshest judgments come out. You know, the same judgments that you use, that you reserve for yourself, start to come out and get applied to to your closest confederates and loved ones. And so the practice of caring about yourself, of being friendly to yourself, is actually what gives you the resilience and the resources to be not only friendly to all the people around you, but to the people who are closest to you. And this is really the practice of recognizing our shared humanity, recognizing that everybody goes through hard times and has challenges, and that if we're down on ourselves because of our challenges, we're only going to make those challenges worse. They call that the second arrow in Buddhism, where it's like the arrow you already get, which is the challenge, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm having a challenge. Chunk, 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 and you put 5 more arrows in yourself for judging yourself for being weak or for having a hard time, which is just amplifying the initial challenge and making it worse and worse. So instead of going down that whole crazy road of like that feedback loop of increasing misery, you just try to stop, pause, notice that you're having a challenge in the first place. Oh yeah, I'm having a hard time today. I'm feeling really tired. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling just like crap. And just like take a moment to go, oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like just the way you would if you saw a little kid having a hard time. Like pause and just acknowledge that you're having this hard time, and then there's always a bigger part of you in awareness that can hold space. For being caring. I can say, you know, I'm sorry that's happening. Like, may you be well. I mean, it sounds so cheesy. And for me, it was so hard to do at first because it sounded cheesy and it sounded like kind of phony. But the more I got in the habit of just noticing when I was in a hard place and like accepting that that's where I was, allowing myself to be in that place, sending some friendliness, the better I would be. The quicker I could get over it. And now it's become more automatic, where I start to go into that place, and you know, I notice it's happened, I send the friendliness, and so you can shortcut that. Instead of going those cycles where you end up in a lot more misery, you can make that happen. That cycle can be faster and faster, and it's just an experience thing. And I'll say one more thing here around this because it's important. This is something my friend Therese has really been helping me. You know, there's this, we're like circular beings, you know, we're in these cycles all the time. And there's a cycle of having a lot more energy and alertness and ability to kind of get stuff done. And there's a cycle of being more low energy and less effective. And I know for me, a lot of my suffering comes from when I'm in a low energy cycle. I hold myself to the standards of my high energy ideal. And I get really mad at myself for letting people down, or for not being able to be as creative or as productive, and that just makes the low energy, it turns it into a depression state or more of a despairing thing. And if I can instead just say, oh yeah, okay, I'm just in this low energy place right now. I'm in this place where I'm just not as effective, or I'm confused, I don't really know the answers. Can I let myself be there? And if I can let myself be there, then actually it's much more enjoyable. It doesn't have to be this horror show. And then my cycle can naturally move into a place of more buoyancy, as it will. It'll go around and around, as opposed to when I'm driving the dagger in, it just keeps me down, 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 down. I end up staying in there longer. So anyway, a little bit about the subject of self-compassion. I think that's going to be it for today. I think next time I'll try to answer some questions around. Landon Hall sent a question here about daydreaming, so I'll do that next week. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's awesome to be part of this community. And there's my dad walking over there. Hey, Dad, do you want to say hi?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine?
Say hello to everyone.
Okay, so my dad says hello to everybody. And I think you already saw my mom. And cool to be part of this community of people. And like, good luck meditating. And I'll check in with you guys next week. Bye. Okay. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Oh, hey, Susie. Nice to see you.